In today's video, we're going to continue our NHL Prediction series. We're making a series of prediction videos leading into the 18-19 season. This is part 3 of a 4-part series covering the NHL Divisional Standings predictions. Today, we're taking a look at the Central Division, and that's coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. Now again, just a friendly reminder as we're done with all these prediction videos, I just want to remind you this is strictly for fun. This is just my opinion. If you agree or disagree, it's totally fine either way. Leave your comments down below. Let me know how you'd have these teams ranked, and we can continue the conversation down below in the comments. So how we're going to do this, I'm going to start with the last place team and work our way up to the first place team. So let's jump in here. So in last place, I've got the Chicago BlackHawks, finishing last year in the Central Division. Unfortunately, things did not go well for the Hawks last year, and I just don't see the team making really any improvements heading into this year to really move up in the divisional standings. Now, one big thing that I know that impacted the Hawks last year was goaltender Corey Crawford being out for such a large portion of this season. Now, of course, at this point in time, it looks as though Crawford likely is going to be okay for training camp and will start the year. But obviously, at this point in time, I do have some concerns over his ability to bounce back and stay healthy here with this team moving forward. We haven't really had a lot of public information, at least that I've seen, on Crawford's health. It does appear he is ready to go. So I do have some concerns over Crawford's ability to bounce back, so obviously that's a question mark for me. As we've seen last year as well, the Hawks defense was suspect at times and certainly needs improvement. They do have some youngsters on the way, but obviously they're a couple years away from really having a major impact. We also saw declining play in the last recent years here from Brandon Saad and Jonathan Toews. So I mean, if these guys can bounce back and perform at a higher level, then they'll likely prove me wrong here. But until we see some more improvement out of that forward group and some more consistency, then obviously I don't see the Hawks moving up here in the standings. Next up, we've got the Minnesota Wild. Now, I do think the Minnesota Wild are going to take a step back this year. Obviously, last year, after their first round exit to the Winnipeg Jets in the playoffs, it was clear how much of a difference there was between teams like Nashville and Winnipeg and the rest of this division. So Minnesota is not quite ready to really move forward in the playoffs, in my opinion. Now, since they changed general manager, they replaced Chuck Fletcher here with Paul Fenton. And at this point in time, Fenton really hasn't been able to do much with this roster to make any significant changes. When you combine that with the fact that guys like Eric Staal and Jason Zucker had career years, and I do have some concerns over their ability to duplicate that, I do see the Wild likely taking a step back and unfortunately have them finishing here in 6th place. Next up here at number 5, we get the Dallas Stars. Now, there should be a lot of reason for optimism on Dallas. They got themselves a new head coach. I know a lot of people, myself included, think that Ken Hitchcock wasn't a good fit there last year and did have a big impact on the team's performance. We did see also the declining play from center iceman Jason Spezza. He seriously declined hardcore last year. Now, I do have him pegged in some of my other videos that you may have seen as a bounce-back player this year. I don't think he's going to go up too high, but instead of getting 30 points, I can see him maybe getting 40 or 50. The other big thing with the Dallas Stars right now that concerns me is the contract situation with Tyler Seguin. Now, just a few days ago, we discussed Seguin's contract situation here, with some rumors around that he could possibly end up being traded if they don't come to terms here in a long-term agreement. Based on what we've heard Jim Nill say in the media versus Tyler Seguin, they seem to have completely different stories, and obviously at this point in time, they're quite a ways apart on a contract extension, which does not bode well for this team here moving forward. Obviously, if they can get a solid year to goaltender Ben Bishop as well as some of their defensemen, that can certainly make some improvements over last year. But unfortunately, I see the Dallas Stars as being another team with high hopes and just falling up short of expectations here. Next up at number 4, I've got the upstart Colorado Avalanche. Now, we saw the Avalanche make drastic improvements last year, and I see them carrying on where they left off last season. Now, I don't think they're going to be able to make too much more progress to make it up any higher in the divisional standings here, but I do think they're going to be carrying on from last year's progress. I do see guys like Mikko Rantanen and Nathan MacKinnon continuing their strong play, along with Gabriel Landeskog. Obviously, they do have some pretty young, solid forwards. They do have some pretty decent young defensemen as well. The one question mark for me is in the net. Obviously, goaltender Semyon Varlamov is going into the final year of his contract, so it's unclear how their starting goaltender is going to work moving forward. But they also brought in goaltender Philip Grubauer from the Washington Capitals, and they also signed goaltender Philip Francouz, who came over from the Czech Republic. So I do think their goaltending is in pretty good shape between the three of those guys. And with what they accomplished last year, I don't see them having any setbacks here. And I see them finishing up in 4th place in the Central Division. Next up at number 3, we got the St. Louis Blues. So yes, if you watch some of my other videos here, you're going to see a pattern that I think the Blues are going to bounce back pretty solid this coming season. They've made a ton of changes in the offseason here, and I do think they're going to be way more competitive and likely be a playoff team during the 18-19 season. I do see goaltender Jake Allen being a lot more solid in the net this year. This is a crucial year for him, in my opinion. It's kind of a make it or break it type of deal. They got goaltender Ville Husso coming up to the minors, who might be willing to take his job if he doesn't shape up here over the next 1 or 2 seasons. The St. Louis Blues have made a ton of changes with their forward group during the offseason as well. They traded for Ryan O'Reilly. They signed guys like David Perron as well as Tyler Bozak. They will hopefully have a healthy Robbie Fabry for the first time in a long time. So I think they're going to be a much more offensively gifted team. And I think with more solid goaltending in the net, this team will have a lot more success this year. So I have the Blues pegged here for a 3rd place finish. Next up at number 2, we've got the Nashville Predators. Now, there's not going to be a great deal of difference between 1st and 2nd place, in my opinion here. It's going to be very, very close, but I do see the Predators slipping to 2nd place. Between Roman Josi, PK Subban, Matthias Ekholm, and Ryan Ellis, they have a tremendous top 4. They have some tremendous forwards as well. But in my opinion, some of my concerns with this team comes with the forward group more so than anything else on this team. I mean, we saw guys like Ryan Johansson and Kyle Turris that have been not the most consistent during their time here in Nashville. So I think the Predators are going to put up a really good fight. They're going to have a really solid regular season. They will certainly be a team that will be in the conversation for Stanley Cup contenders for sure. But I see them finishing here in 2nd place. So obviously that leaves the 1st place team to be the Winnipeg Jets. Now the Winnipeg Jets, in my opinion, are one of the favorites for the Stanley Cup in 2018-19. They have an absolutely tremendous team. If you've seen them last year in the playoffs, they had great goaltending, great defense, and a great group of forwards who can certainly score and play solid defensive two-way hockey as well. In my opinion, the Jets are absolutely stacked, and for me, they're the odds-on favorites here to win the Central Division. When you take a look at the Jets forward group and how strong they are and how much offensive power there is, along with the defensive responsibilities, and then you have their defensive group on the back end, who's as solid as they are with a guy like Hellebuyck in the net, I just don't see how they're not going to finish in 1st place. So for me, the Jets are the 1st place winners for the Central Division during the 18-19 season. So those are my predictions for the Central Division for the 18-19 season. Again, just a friendly reminder that these are strictly my opinions. These are just for fun. If you agree or disagree, regardless, I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. Let me know how you think the teams are going to finish, and we'll continue that conversation down below in the comment section. If you're new to the channel here, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams. There's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.